Hello, children. Welcome back to GodlyTrio Bible Stories. Today, we are going to hear an amazing story from the Bible about a poor widow, her two sons, and a little jar of oil. This story is from 2 Kings chapter 4, and it will show us how God provides for his children when they trust him. Are you ready? Let's go! A long time ago in Israel, there lived a poor widow. A widow is a woman whose husband has died. This woman's husband had been part of the prophets who served God, but now he was gone. She had 2 young sons, and they were all alone. Life was very hard for them. They had no money, no food, and no one to help. One day, the widow cried out to the prophet Elisha, "My husband served the Lord, but now he is dead, and the man I owe money to is coming. He says if I don't pay, he will take my 2 sons to be his slaves." Oh no! Imagine how scary that must have been. This poor mother was about to lose her boys, but instead of giving up, she went to God's prophet for help. When Elisha heard her cry, he looked at her with kindness. "How can I help you? Tell me, what do you have in your house?" "I have nothing at all, except a small jar of olive oil." Children, did you hear that? She had almost nothing, just a tiny jar of oil. But remember, with God, a little can become a lot. Elisha smiled and said something very unusual. "Go around and ask all your neighbors for empty jars. Don't ask for just a few. Collect as many as you can." So the widow called her 2 sons. Together, they ran from house to house. "Knock, knock. Can we borrow your empty jars?" "Knock, knock. Do you have a pot or a container we can use?" Neighbors looked surprised, but they gave them jars, pots, bowls, anything that could hold oil. Soon, the widow's house was filled with empty containers, big and small. Now Elisha told her, "Go inside your house with your sons. Shut the door behind you. Take your jar of oil and start pouring it into the empty jars." The widow was puzzled. "Pour oil into all these jars? But I only have 1 small jar." Still, she trusted God and obeyed. She picked up her little jar and tilted it over the first container. Drip, drip, pour. Children, guess what happened? The oil kept flowing. It filled the first jar. She moved to the next one. Pour, full. Then another. Pour, full. Her eyes grew wide. Her sons clapped their hands in amazement. The oil didn't stop. Jar after jar, pot after pot, bowl after bowl, they were all filled to the top with oil. Finally, the boy cried out, "Mother, there are no more jars left." And at that very moment, the oil stopped flowing. The widow looked around her house. Everywhere she turned, there were jars filled with precious olive oil. What once was empty, God had made full. She hurried back to Elisha. "Man of God, I did what you said. Now every jar is filled with oil." Elisha said with joy, "Go, sell the oil, pay your debts, and you and your sons can live on what is left." Children, isn't God amazing? He turned 1 tiny jar of oil into enough to save the widow's family, pay their debts, and provide food for them to live. So, what can we learn from the story of the widow's oil? God cares for us just like he cared for the widow and her sons. God cares about your family too. God can do big miracles with small things. The widow only had a little oil, but God made it more than enough. Obedience brings blessings. The widow trusted God's word through Elisha and did exactly what she was told. Because of that, she saw God's miracle. Children, Maybe you feel like you don't have much, just a little talent, a little time, or a little courage. But if you give it to God, He can do amazing things. The story of the widow's oil reminds us that God is our provider. Whenever we are in need, we can pray and trust Him to take care of us. Let's say it together. God is my provider. Don't forget to share this story with your friends, and always remember that God can turn little into much. Thank you for joining us today at GodlyTrio Bible Stories. See you next time. Bye!